10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
Deep to right field at the warning track. See ya.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
At the buzzer.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now. It's really fun to be a part of.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Huge win for Oregon.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Oregon football with a scrimmage on Saturday. Dan Lanning, he'll tell you all about it, the Oregon football head coach. We also had the opportunity on Dan Lanning's birthday to have him on the Oregon baseball broadcast yesterday after he threw out the first pitch. Can confirm he was over 60 miles an hour on the delivery, threw from the rubber, threw a perfect strike. He did say that there were some side bets amongst Oregon baseball if he was going to hit 60 miles an hour or if he was going to throw a strike. He executed. Well done, Coach. Well done. Yeah, it was great. We had the opportunity to catch up with him. If you missed it, at least a little bit of what we talked about, you can find that on the Quack Video social media. That's right. We're going to hear from Dan Lanning coming up. Also, Tony Tuioti. He was a fun interview with the media this past weekend. And Jackson Powers Johnson making the move to the defensive side of the ball permanently. We're going to hear from him coming up. Oregon baseball with a 3-1 series victory over a really good Ball State team. Probably going to win the MAC. That's a good RPI series win for the Ducks. Punctuated the weekend, a walk-off by Tyler Ganus, a guy who his head coach called him a legend. Mark Wasikowski said Tyler Gannis is a legend, to be honest with you. A living legend. Good comment. Good compliment. We'll hear from Mark Wasikowski and Tyler Gannis coming up. Oregon softball with a rough weekend. We'll dive into that a little bit. Best of luck to Niara Sabali tonight. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, the WNBA draft is coming up today. Best of luck. Here's to the next Pro Duck. Also, your Cafe 2-minute drill will run through everything going on around Oregon athletics. All right, I know nobody cares what I think. Let's hear from Dan Lanning, Oregon football head coach. Brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on. A busy day on Duck Insider, a lot of interviews. I'm just going to get out of the way.
Really good day of work, excited. Obviously, have beautiful weather, great conditions for our guys to get out here and compete. Biggest thing you're looking for is guys to go out here and execute at a high level. We wanted to keep it simple on offense and defense and just see our guys go. And certainly a lot of things to improve on coming away with. Got to do a better job with ball security, but we had a lot of explosive plays on offense. Got to see the ball in the end zone some. And obviously that means on defense we got to do a better job tackling and finishing. So excited, lots of room of improvement on both sides of the ball. But definitely a good day to get some great work in for our guys.
Was it a full scrimmage, like that's all you did, or did you split it half practice, half scrimmage? What was
we did some, some warm-up stuff, drills, some separate individual work, some 7-on-7, and then worked into some situational stuff. Started off in the field, scrimmage situation, and then worked low red areas, some third down situations, 2 minutes.
It's also an opportunity for the staff to be up in the box and see how
some up,
works.
some down. Yeah. Not everybody, not quite like game day, but as close as we can from a game day operations standpoint.
About how many reps did each unit get?
I have to look at the total number. We're going to be somewhere around 90 to 100 reps total, maybe a little bit more than that, but a good amount of reps.
Are scrimmage days like this assessed any differently than normal practice? Like, is there more weight put on performance in a scrimmage setting than a normal day?
I don't know about more weight, but we certainly go into a lot of detail for grading. You grade this more like a game. It's a good opportunity for coaches. We do a write-up after every scrimmage, very similar to a game. What can we improve on? Things we did well, things we did poorly. So as much for the players, to me, this is a great assessment of our coaches and how we can, build on what we've done so far.
What's it about rotating the quarterbacks today?
We got a lot of guys got a lot of reps. Yeah, a lot of guys got a lot of reps. Really every guy was working with every group.
Was there a particular player or position group that kind of stood out to you today, or?
Not right now. For every highlight, there was a low light. There was something we really got to fix and get better at. Like I said, I think there were some shiny moments, but nothing. There wasn't one group that I thought, wow, these guys came out and performed at the level we want to perform.
For one way or the other, Ty and Bo get a lot of the attention. Just can you talk on Jay's progression through camp and today, and just how he's performed?
Yeah, I think Jay's a savvy player. I think Jay would tell you, just like Bo and Ty would tell you, there's a lot of things that he can improve on and get better at. But the more these guys get comfortable in the system, I thought today was a great example of those guys understanding what Coach Dillingham's goal is on offense and where he wanted the ball distributed and how we're going to take care of it. But there's something about a scrimmage that creates a little bit of a sense of urgency between all three of those guys. And I thought we saw some of that today.
You talked about havoc rate the other day, and certainly your class defense certainly caused a lot of it. This is a defense you inherit that is losing a premier edge rusher and had its fewest sacks in about 25 years. How do you go about identifying, who have you identified might be some of those guys outside of a Braden Swinson, who are some of those guys who we're going to look to turn to in the months ahead to be those havoc-causing players in the front seven?
Yeah, and again, if you remember when I was talking a little bit about havoc, obviously we grade that at all levels, right? So a PBU is a havoc play, an interception's a havoc play, just like a sack or a TFL, forced fumble. Those are all havoc plays, but I wouldn't say we're singling out one guy. The key for me is how can we find a way to be able to do that with our linebackers? How can we do it with our outside linebackers? How can we do that with DBs? And the way you do that is you're really multiple. You have plays where you can blitz your linebackers at times. You have plays where you can blitz a corner or a safety, and bring different guys and get them involved in the backfield if you want to create a TFL. There's a lot of guys right now that I'd say do it. I don't know if one person's separating themselves.
The glass half full assessment of when you're without three interior defensive linemen is that guys who are low on the depth chart, hadn't seen as much game time, are getting that much more practice time here in the spring. So what have you seen from the interior D linemen in particular, individually, collectively so far?
Well, they're certainly playing more snaps than I'd want to normally play. I want those guys to be fresh within the game, but that's challenged our conditioning a little bit, which has been a positive, and it's given us an opportunity to see a lot of guys in a lot of different settings. We're having to play guys that we wouldn't normally see as a nose or a three technique and try to get them in there and operate. And they've done a good job of handling that.
What's kind of your assessment on defensive linemen as a whole, and just kind of your philosophy on that?
Yeah, we want to be disruptive, but you got to stop the run first. Our goal is always to make a team one-dimensional, take away what they do best. But I've always felt like as a coach, if you can choke out the run, then you're going to have a chance to go rush the pass run in pass rush situations. So that's what we want to do first, and we certainly didn't stop the run to my standard today. We're going to do a better job of that, moving forward.
How has Sam Taimani influenced things? I know he's probably a bigger body than Morgan's had for a couple of years, but his kind of early impressions in camp.
Yeah, I love the power that he plays with. I think that Taki would tell you, just like I would tell you, he needs to continue to work on his conditioning because we want him to be a guy that can play all downs and really push. He does a great job right now striking and separating from blocks, but look for that to continue to improve. And I think he can definitely be an anchor for us on the inside and create some value.
With that group in particular, just what's Christian Williams' status with the team?
Still kind of holding wait and see right now.
You guys have a variety of talented running backs on offense. A couple of guys maybe haven't seen a whole lot from are Sean Dollars, who's getting healthier, and then Noah Newface. What have you seen from them, and what do they bring to the room?
I'd say, really Sean's last two practices, I feel like Sean's taking it up another notch, really competing at another level. I think he's really embracing the coaching, and I've loved seeing that, firsthand from him, his response. One thing we're asking every one of our players right now is how do you respond to coaching? Sean's done a good job of that in the last two practices. Noah runs extremely hard. I think he's a guy that has great vision at back, but he just plays with another level of effort, which to me, if you can play with effort, we can coach the rest.
How do you assess when a player responds well to coaching?
So what next play? Can I take that? And then do you make the same mistake twice, right? Because every one of us is going to make mistakes, and I think I talked about the other day, fixed mindset versus a growth mindset, right? And our guys having a growth mindset, it's okay to make mistakes, but do you make it again? Or can you learn from your mistake and take it to another level down the road?
Another transfer I meant to ask you about the other day, adding Kilo, just because that's a position that's really important in this offense that you didn't have necessarily a natural guy at. So how important was it to add a fullback H and given this offense into that role?
Yeah, we want to have as much depth and as many good players as we can possibly have. So every time we can add a hat, that's a positive for us.
We saw Dante Manning wheelchaired out. Is he okay?
I have to wait and see what happened. He got dinged up. I really can't speak on it yet because obviously I'm just leaving the practice field.
You might not be able to speak on this either, but did you get the necessary paperwork to talk about an exciting thing that happened yesterday? Okay, I'm getting a nod now, so I'm going to stop my question.
Appreciate it.
At this point in camp, how do you balance out working on what they need to work on and pushing them, but also keeping sure they're physically right as well, the guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, this plan didn't happen today. It's been laid out over time, right? So we already know what these 15 practices are going to look like. We adjusted our practice reps on Thursday because we knew what they would look like today. We met as a staff and had a goal for each one of our players as far as snap count. I'm anxious to see if we were able to hit those with our guys, but it really goes back to pre-planning, not post-planning.
You talked a little bit that the special teams would be the live work would come to these scrimmages. How did that unit in particular stand out today? Anybody on the turn side, covered side?
Clean from an operations standpoint, performance standpoint, really has to hit another level. And you just don't get enough. Personally, I don't want to go out there and run 50 reps a punt and kick the ball and we're having guys cover the field, every single time. So you're limited reps. It's not like where you get to go run inside zone 15 times. So I thought the execution was fine. I thought the performance could have been a lot higher.
There's a lot of talent on the defensive line as well. I know a lot of the key contributors are kind of banged up right now, but with the depth that you guys have along the defensive line, do you kind of view that as a position where you're going to rotate a lot of guys, or maybe looking for kind of the main group to keep in there?
If you're good enough, you're old enough. Doesn't matter, right? We're going to figure out a way to use good players. So if we have enough good players that can play and contribute, they'll play. If we don't, then we'll play the ones that are. That's every position, not just D-line.
With half of spring complete and another half to go, do you look to, I want to say solidify, you got a long time, but in terms of how do you go about strategizing what you look for next week? What do you do look to set guys a little bit more in personnel groups just to see how they work and operate with continuity, or still a lot of flexibility?
Go back, evaluate the film, see where we're at right now, make sure we identify the areas that we got to improve based on what we watched today, what situations do we have to do a better job creating in practice for our players, and then give our guys real information. Here's something that you can take, here's something you can improve on. I don't think I can really do that until we watch the film, but there's certainly some things we already have laid out from a practice organization standpoint that we're going to work, but then again, taking that and carrying it over.
Will you want to scrimmage one more time before the spring game? Or?
Yeah, we'll get it in again next Saturday is the plan.
How did these early enrollees, this might have been their first time scrimmaging at this level, how do they look? Did stage too big? Or?
No, stage's not too big. See, we spent some time this morning watching clips of Marcus Mariota playing in front of an empty stadium in a scrimmage, very similar, right? Eric Armstead, same thing, right? Justin Herbert, right? Penei Sewell. Right, we watched clips of them on a scrimmage day and what they did, right? And then you get an opportunity to watch what they do on Sundays. But the reality is, the example there is that it starts with work. It starts when nobody's watching, right? And that's what today was, an opportunity to work when nobody was watching.
How far back with film that Oregon have you watched?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure. We just dug a little bit. We know those guys are good players, so we wanted to find some film that we thought would be good to show our guys.
I thought that was pretty cool. A little bit of the history of Oregon and the fact that you can go back and watch some of those scrimmages. I mean, shout out to the video crew, right, around Oregon football for being able to do that. I think that's such a great, great thing. I was a little blown away in a good way by that. You know what I mean? Thought that was cool. Dan Lanning, Oregon football head coach, after the scrimmage on Saturday, and they're going to scrimmage again this upcoming Saturday, day before Easter as well. When we return, talk a little D-line. Tony Tuioti met with the media. That's next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam, ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. Oregon getting ready for scrimmage number 2 now before the spring game on April 23rd. If you haven't heard, it's going to be Duck Day. Tons of events going on. Track and field, soccer, football, baseball, softball, all going on in the Eugene area. Duck Day. So if you're making the trip for the spring game, why not enjoy the entire festivities, all the festivities. I can't wait. Here's hoping that it's good weather and not snowing like it is right now. That was weird this morning. It's April 11th. Wild. Tony Tuioti, he met with the media on Saturday, talking a little bit D-line. It was fun catching up with him. I got to say, he was one of my favorite interviews that we had on the signing day show. He was great talking with the media on Saturday.
Well, what do you see so far from your transfer from Washington and Taki?
Great leader, brings great energy. He's a guy that's played in this conference before, so he's battle tested. We're going to need that experience that he has, especially with the group that we got going on this spring. I got a lot of young guys that are taking a lot of reps that don't have the amount of reps that he's played in this conference, so he's been great for us since he's been here.
When you're entering spring knowing that 3 of your guys who are on a 2D are not going to be available, how did you go about strategizing and planning for rep distribution and things for, like you say, for guys who just hadn't been as experienced?
Yep, just, this is really a great opportunity for a lot of young guys to get reps, like Keanu Williams, Suavo Portiel, all those type of guys, Mikael Afrese, like all those guys, just trying to get them as many reps as they can, while the other 3 are sitting. Typically, you want to get those guys reps, Doris and those guys, but this is a great time for the young guys to try to close the gap, so to speak, in terms of reps, and you can't get enough for those guys, whether it's on the field, it's in the classroom, and they've been doing a pretty good job of taking all that in.
When you're inheriting a group that had its fewest sacks in over 20 years, yes, it'll be on edge guys too, and interior guys, but ultimately, how do you go about trying to establish and identify those pass rushes from guys 300-plus pound interior line?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the scheme too as well. We got some guys with Dorlis when he's healthy. I think having DJ on the edge too helps us in pass rushing. But a lot of it is just a relentless effort, finding guys that are athletic. Jake Shipley now, we're sliding him down, playing with us as a defensive line, gives us another guy that's athletic. Trevin also with us in defensive line. So trying to find ways where we can put these guys in position where we can take advantage of mismatches. And I think Coach LaFoy has got a great scheme of that. And also Coach Lanning, so that we can create protection issues and we can create one-on-ones where we want them to.
I was talking to JoJo Dumont back at the Combine. He said that first spring together, you said we're buying the stock. And clearly that paid off pretty nicely for you.
Yeah.
Anybody who you're buying stock in this year?
It's too early right now to buy stocks for all of us, even myself. I mean, we're we're in work in progress mode. You know, we got to have a growth mentality. We always talk about in our room, good, better, best. And every single day we're just trying to get better one at a time. And today was a pretty good job of us just trying to figure each other out. I mean, chemistry matters. Me just getting to know the guys, substitutions, down and distance situations, all those types of things. So we're a work in progress, and that's what spring's all about. So hopefully when it's all said and done and we kick off in September or August, we're ready to go.
You're halfway through spring ball. Just what's kind of the mission the next half for your position?
Just continue to get more physical at the point of attack. We got to do a better job in the run game. Obviously, there were some big runs against us today, so we got to be stout at the point of attack. I want these guys to be able to recognize what's happening in front of them and to react. That's the game. No matter what level of football that you're playing, okay, it's all about recognition, reaction, and these young guys got to be able to see what's happening in front of them and then react to it really, really fast. So I kind of give them the example of a cell phone. You know, you want to operate at all 4 Wi-Fi bars on light, right? And some of our guys are operating at 1. Okay, so my goal for them is how many bars can we light up before spring ball's over.
You talked about 3 guys being out with injuries up front. That's also allowed the younger guys to get more reps. Have you seen someone grow with that extra reps that they've had? Dan mentioned maybe it's the rep count's maybe a little high than you would like, but are you seeing someone take advantage of those extra reps?
Yeah, especially in like the last couple of practices. I'm seeing guys like Keanu Williams grow. Taki, he's definitely got to grow too as well. He's a guy that's got a lot of playing experience, but you got to learn a new system and learn how we do things and how we operate here. But Keanu Williams, the last couple of practices, I've seen him kind of grow and get better. Jake Shipley, coming in playing a new position, I see him growing and getting better. Guys are understanding what they got to do within the scheme of the defense, and that's the thing I'm really happy about those guys doing right now.
With a lot of younger guys, you mentioned getting a lot of snaps. I mean, how does that help the depth at all, maybe development-wise? Even though you never want guys out, does that kind of move that along a little bit, you think?
It definitely does, and these young guys got to understand that everybody's got to be ready to go. Throughout the course of the season, we can't control what's going to happen with injuries and depth, so it's very important for these young guys to understand, like, I got to prepare myself like I'm always going to be up. I'm the next guy up. And so for me, I always want to have my rotation, whether it's the 8th guy or the first guy, like those guys, the better we can be from 1 to 8, the better we're going to be when we're in the game. It doesn't matter who's going in and out, we can still play at a high level.
What was it about Oregon that you wanted to come out here and change jobs?
It's the relationship, with Adrian Clam. I've known him for a long time. But being able to be with a defensive coach like Dan Lanning, Tosh Lupoy, like those guys have done it at a high level, at an elite level on the defensive side, and I wanted to be a part of that. Oregon football has always been one of the top teams in the conference and won for a long time, so I wanted to be a part of that. So being able to come here and have an opportunity to win at a high level, get to the playoffs, win a conference championship, and also play elite defense, that's what really drew me here.
I heard that when you were discussing the job, you were also driving to Texas in a really big van. I got to what was that kind of conversation like?
It was pretty crazy. My son played the night before in the JUCO National Championship in Arkansas, and we win and we celebrate. I go to sleep, I wake up in the morning, I get a text message, and it's from Coach Lanning, Coach Lupoy. So we have all 9 in a 15-passenger van, and we're driving down, and we pull over, get some gas, and then we're sitting talking ball, and that's how it all kind of started.
Was that an easy conversation with your family of, hey, should we do this? Or
it was an easy conversation with them because they knew we were making a gas station stop and they could go get something to eat for about 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And that's where the conversation happened with Coach Lanning and Coach Toss. And it only took me about a few minutes after I talked to Coach Lanning that I felt like, hey, this is a guy that I really want to work for and be with because I know he's going to be able to do something special here.
Just on when?
Yes.
Sorry if you've been asked this already, but just kind of assess like the defensive line as a whole, and what do you just kind of grade on as far as looking at certain players?
I'm looking for guys that play with hard effort. Guys that are relentless, guys that are tough. We're not even close to where we want to be at, and that's what spring ball is all about. I want the younger guys to continue to improve because they got to close the gap between the older guys that are not taking reps right now. And I think those guys are coming along. But as far as what I'm looking for specifically, guys that play hard, guys that play tough, guys that show up time and time again.
What's the toughest thing at this point, too? Is it conditioning? Is it just learning the playbook?
It's all of it. It's getting in shape. It's getting strong. It's learning the playbook.
It's being able to operate at a high level, especially when you start getting tired. And Coach Kenny Dillingham's going really, really fast. Can I operate? Can I get the call? Can I put myself in a situation? Can I see the surfaces and backs? And then can I get my hand in the dirt and watch the guy in front of me so I can play my keys and reads? So can I do that time and time again? If it 30 plays, can I do that 30 plays in a row? And that conditioning plays a part in that, because when you start getting tired as a big guy, you're not going to go through your checklist pre-snap. And that's all it takes is one play. And it's a big play on the offense, and we give that up. So those are the things that I'm trying to help these guys understand, that all of it matters.
You're talking about some of the guys, say, outside of, you mentioned Shipley in particular, or Trevor Mize.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, are you looking at, on the 3 down front, are they purely 4 eyes, and then when you go to 4 down, is it more of a 5-6, or
Yeah.
how do you differentiate?
Yeah, so there's times where we're going to be in the 3 down front. They'll play some 4-eye for us. But the great thing about our defense is that we play a lot of 4 down. We can get in 3 down. So they'll be in 4 downs. There'll be 5 technique defensive ends for us, depending on personnel group, and they can slide down and be a 3 technique for us too as well. Just because we're 4 down doesn't mean they're always going to be the 5 technique for us. We might put 2 outside backers, and we're going to slide our next big guy down to a 3 technique, and that gives us an athletic guy against an offensive guard that we feel like we can take advantage of in the pass game. So we'll probably use our blessed players like that and move them around.
Tony Tuioti, the Oregon defensive line coach. A lot of great information there from him, just talking about that great story. He told that on our National Signing Day show, and he said, yeah, I was in the van with the entire family and made the call, made the decision. Pretty cool story. You don't get to hear ones like that very often, do you? But sometimes it just feels right, it clicks, and here we are. Now he's coaching the Ducks. When we come back, Jackson Powers-Johnson has made the move permanently to the defensive line. I feel like maybe there's still going to be some competition for him between the 2 guys, between the 2 coaches on the offensive line and the defensive line. More coming up. Jackson Powers-Johnson, we'll hear from him next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece, and it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too. Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and experiences connect through conversation, and it feels good.
This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too. Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together. Start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We heard from Dan Lanning, heard from Tony Tuioti. Now let's get a chance to hear from Jackson Powers-Johnson. He was a real team guy at the end of the year last year. Ducks were a little shorthanded on the defensive line. He had played both ways in high school, both offense and defense. Made the transition to defensive line. The Ducks were like, hey, he did pretty good. He did a nice job. Well, now he's there, and he talked with the media after practice on Saturday.
Spring ball's been a lot of fun. I mean, especially with these new coaches. It's been awesome to, get the scheme and
we've been having a lot of fun. Football's been a lot of fun here, so it's been great.
What have the last couple months been for you? It's been a while since we've been able to talk to players. Just the coaching change and you playing defense in the Alamo Bowl and kind of going back and forth between defense and offense. What has that been for you?
It's just been a dream. It's been fun. I just want to play football. I want to play wherever I can and help this team wherever I can. And just talking about the coaches have been absolutely just wonderful. Breath of fresh air, really. They're great people, and they're just great coaches in general. I come in the building, I'm excited to play football. I'm excited to see my coaches. So it's been a great culture. The vibe's different, and football's fun. So it's been good.
You've mentioned that the vibe is different. A lot of other players have mentioned that the vibe is different. Just what is, if you can figure, put into words, just the change in vibe that you've seen and you've felt?
Honestly, it's a younger staff, and I feel like they get us more and they kind of feel us more. But it's just kind of just in that way, and it's just something kind of new, and you get a new car, it's cool, you want to go drive it everywhere, right? And just, the scheme's been great. It's just, they're great people, that's the biggest thing, they're great people. So I think that the vibe is the same, but it's just kind of different because it's new and we're learning it, and we're learning each other, and we're, kind of just trying to gel. So
just talk about Coach Lanning, and how would you describe him and the rest of the defensive staff?
Aggressive, really aggressive. On the field, very aggressive, ready to go. They're not gonna, be soft or passive. And off the field, great men. Great fathers. Great people in general. We do these get real meetings, and I get to learn about them constantly and what they've been through and how they got here. And it makes me want to play harder for them.
You lose obviously a talented pass rusher in Thibodeau, but have you and other defensive players kind of look at that as an opportunity just to kind of showcase yourself and the rest of the defensive line?
Of course, it sucks that we lose Thibodeau, and he's going to be a great player in the NFL. But we're thinking about the guys that are here right now. We're trying to be great with the guys we have, and we're working hard. And Coach Tuioti's been a great coach and teaching us new moves and everything, especially for me. I played offensive line all year. I need to learn kind of the movement of it, But it's been great. We've been progressively getting better. We got a long way to go for sure, but we're just progressing every day.
So we've seen you go from defense at the start of camp for the last week, kind of go on the offensive side. Is there a plan for the future, or are you still just going to go kind of ebb and flow and back and forth?
I'm going to play both ways as long as I can. I'm going to do whatever's best for the team. It's really up to Coach Lanning and the coaching staff. I really don't care. Honestly, it's really up to my mom. Whatever my mom wants me to play, But no, whatever they want me to do, I'll do. If you want me to play quarterback, I'll go play quarterback. I can throw a little bit, not that far though.
I think Coach Lanning did mention that if you wanted to play quarterback,
I can throw a little bit. I can't compete with Bo and Ty, but yeah.
What's been the biggest challenge for you then, going back and forth and I know learning both playbooks at this point? Have you reached out to anybody else in the team? I know DJ Johnson did something like that last year. Has that been a guy you've talked to, or has it just been basically what are the biggest challenges of doing this?
I think just being in shape for it for sure. Learning both playbooks and just being elite at both. It's college football. Can't be normal here on both sides of the ball. You got to be elite. So I think for me, I'm trying to soak up everything. I'm finding leaders of both. Talking to Taki over there, and he has a lot of great knowledge. Talking to Suave, and on the offensive line side, I know a lot of those guys are over there too. You got Alex, and I'm constantly talking to both. See what I can do to be better. Because I'm hitting that point where I'm not young anymore. And I got to become that guy. So yeah.
Just talk about the pace of the just kind of the offense that you kind of go up against too on a day-to-day basis. It seems like Landon wants to be very high up tempo on the play, on every single play.
Oh no, yeah, they're throwing the ball. They're moving. They're challenging the defense. We got to get a call, and sometimes we got to rotate people in. But we got to be quick, and they're pushing the envelope on us to do it, and making us better in that way. So it's a high-octane offense. They're throwing the ball. They're running the ball, throwing it here, there. I'm spinning around. And then when I got on the offensive side, it's great to play as an offensive lineman there because we got run plays, of course, that offensive line love, but we're throwing the ball too. It's a fun scheme, and it's been really fun to learn.
So how much is it a change from what you've previously been doing as far as scheme level?
Scheme level? I think more just more pass emphasis. We're still running the ball, but it's similar. So. I also haven't learned all of it. Yeah, I just got switched over, but yeah.
Was today your first full-time scrimmage, first full scrimmage?
Thanks, Mom. It was the first scrimmage, but this is the first time it really went both ways. Most of spring I was been defense, and I did 2 practices with offense, And so, yeah, but it was my first bowl, I'd say, yeah.
Just overall, what was the energy of of playing in Autzen, and what was the energy of the team? What was that first scrimmage like?
Oh, it gives me goosebumps every time I walk in. I love Autzen Stadium, you know. And everyone's excited too. You know, we gotta play different in Autzen because we can't be passive there. You know, we got all those fans ready for us and we gotta show out for them. So, but it was a great vibe. You know, everyone's excited to go out there and hit. It's our first time we get hit and tackle each other to the ground. And I don't know, it's just like, you know, you go to elementary school and there's recess. You know, you get to tackle each other, right? It gets a little bit different now. So it's a lot of fun though.
You're a high energy guy, obviously. How do you kind of balance at this point in camp? Obviously, being physical, working what you need to work on, but also making sure, you know, you guys as a team stay physically right as well.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of balance that out?
I think it's just more, you know, what we do in the weight room. You know, Coach Lanning says that we need to be attacked rehab specialists, you know, after practice, getting our bodies right and everything like that, but when we're on the field, we're going hard and full speed. And Coach Love and the whole weight and strength conditioning staff have prepared us great for that, you know. And so it's just kind of that, you know, just going throughout and having a good mindset every day. You know, I feel like the times where you start slowing down and kind of loafing, that's when you get hurt.
Told you, man. There's going to be competition pulling him back and forth. Jackson Powers Johnson, don't you love that? The ultimate team guy says, you know what? I'll play wherever they need me to play. Like, that's pretty cool. Seeing a guy that's going to play both ways maybe. Understands both sides of the ball. That's valuable. Jackson Powers Johnson, that's pretty darn cool. That's Oregon football for the weekend. A lot of other stuff going on, including Oregon baseball with a walk-off victory for the Ducks yesterday. That's coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece, and it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon football practicing over the weekend, and Oregon baseball playing 4 games in 3 days against Ball State. A back-and-forth game on Friday. An Anthony Hall home run gave the Ducks an 8-6 lead. A couple times, actually, that the Ducks have hit game. The right word is breaking, I think, home runs. Like, they break it open with home runs. Well, Anthony Hall hit a 2-run shot to break the 6-6 tie at the time. 3 straight games with a long ball for Anthony Hall. And he finishes the weekend, more on this in a second, hitting home runs in 4 of 5. Not bad, huh? We also saw Jacob Walsh hit one a long way in that game on Friday, and it was yet another home run that broke a tie. Ducks were disciplined at the plate in the 8th inning, and I wanted to highlight this because I think it's easy for us to sit here and say, yeah, just take pitches that are balls. That's hard to do, especially when a team is top 15 in the country in pretty much every offensive category. Ducks ended up taking, I think, 6 walks in that 8th inning, and they won the game 13-7 because they were disciplined. They sort of outlasted a pretty darn good Ball State team. And then on Saturday, 2 games, doubleheader. Not the best game for the Ducks in the first one. 3 errors on the scoreboard, maybe a couple other ones that got away from the Ducks. A ball that Josh Kasvich didn't see off the bat, so he ended up leaning the wrong way. Then it got by him at the shortstop, goes as a single, right? But he probably could have made the play. A couple balls into the outfield, maybe could have been caught. Ducks end up losing the game 3-2. Okay, make a bunch of mistakes, feel like you don't play your best baseball. You only lost by 1 run. Ducks were 0 for 8 in that game with runners in scoring position. So something had to change in game 2, and it did. The Ducks bounced back. They won. They handled the negative of the first game, turned it into a positive in the second game. They win 10-4. They take a 2-1 series lead. Anthony Hall, 4th home run in 5 games. Wow. 2-1. This is hammered. Hall gone. Off the banner in right center field. Anthony Hall on fire.
He got all of it, and then some.
105 miles per hour off his bat. Estimated distance of 426 feet. 8-4 Oregon in the bottom of the 7th. That's so far. Like 426 feet. Shout out to the Oregon baseball managers, their tech team, by the way. They're giving us that info that fast. That was really cool. I don't know how I feel about Jordan's he got Hall of it. How do we feel? Let's honestly ask the question. How do we feel about this, Scott Phillips? What do you think? We like a good pun. We have no fun.
I don't know. I liked it when I first heard it, and I kind of chuckled. I kind of liked it.
Okay, so we got an actual chuckle out of Scott for that. Anybody has an opinion? At Jordan Brenner 31 on Twitter. All right. Yeah, that's really something. Okay, but anyway, Tanner Smith also in this game scored his 135th run with Oregon baseball. He is 1 away from breaking a 3-way tie to become the all-time runs leader in the history of Oregon baseball. Number 136 will be Tanner Smith's next one. Pretty cool to see that for Tanner Smith. Anthony Hall, though, is just absolutely on fire. And then on Sunday, a really back-and-forth game. Both teams kind of emptied the bullpen, and Oregon, I'll tell you what, they played some good baseball. Ducks were aggressive on the base paths, did have a guy get thrown out at the plate, but that's the way Oregon plays, man. They're going to be aggressive. A back-and-forth game. It ends up in the 9th inning. After Oregon gave up back-to-back solo home runs that tied it at 6 in the 8th. So it was like, okay, Ducks got this. They're going to the pen. Well, a couple of home runs, and the long ball changes the game. We saw that, unfortunately, for Oregon softball this weekend as well. Tyler Gannis, though, is Mr. Energy. If you don't know about Tyler Gannis, well, you're about to know a lot about Tyler Gannis because he stepped up as a pinch hitter. So the Ducks really went to the bench to get this done. Some pinch runners, some pinch hitters used in this game. Tyler Gannis is now, after this, 4 for 7 on the season at the plate. He's perfect in this role as a guy to come off the bench and give Oregon some energy. Bases are loaded, 1 out. Ducks need a run. Tyler Gannis, pinch hitter. Gannis pinch hitting against Klein. He swings, sends it down the left field line. Base hit, Tyler Gannis. Ball game, Ducks. 7-6 win. And it's a mob in right center field. Tyler Gannis getting the Gatorade bath. How about that? Pretty cool for Tyler Gannis. Ducks win 7-6, and Tyler Gannis fired up. Scoring in the late innings was key for the Ducks. In both the 3rd and 4th games of the weekend series, I think the Ducks scored in like every frame but one from the 5th on. in those 2 games. I mean, that's what you have to do. You pull away from bullpens. The Ducks have now hit 51 total home runs, by the way. That's the second most all-time for a team in Oregon history. And, you know, last year they set a record for home runs as a team, hitting 56. They're 5 shy of the school record that they set last year, and it's only April 11th. We've still got like 2 months of baseball left. Think they can get to 100? It's possible. It's really possible. Also, Oregon is second in the country in double plays turned. Impressive what the Ducks have been able to do. Ducks homered in all 4 games. Their home run streak is now at 7 straight games. That's the second most in school history, behind the 17-game streak that the Ducks set earlier this very season. Oregon just continues to use the long ball. Gavin Grant hit a home run as well, 5th of the season. Oregon now has 5 players with 5 or more home runs. And Tanner Smith led Oregon in the 4-game series, batting .429, hit a long ball himself, 4 ribbies, 4 runs scored. He also walked 5 times, finished with a .579 on-base percentage. That's what you want to see from your leadoff hitter. Ducks stole 10 bases in the 4-game series as well. They were running. So that's the bye week for Oregon baseball in the Pac-12 season. Now they're back to Pac-12 play Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week against Washington. Ducks are up to number 15. By the way, in the latest RPI of the 301 D1 baseball teams that are competing. Mark Wasikowski, well, I think he was happy post-game, and he had maybe the quote of the year about Tyler Ganus.
How about the battle today? Just like we saw yesterday between 2 of the better closers in the country and Colby getting back on track.
Summers was outstanding today, yeah. Their closer, Klein, real deal. I mean, that's a good baseball team, as you can tell. You know, Coach Maloney has done a tremendous job with that program, and he's got a lot of really good quality arms. You know, when the guy that comes out of the bullpen second on the 4th day is throwing 96 miles an hour, and that's, you know, a guy who only had 4 appearances for Coach Maloney's club. That's a credit how deep his pitching staff really is and how good they really are. And for us to get to the Klein kid at the end was hard to do, and credit to the hitters and their work with Coach Marr.
Big theme this week was moving on to the next at-bat, that mentality to move on. In the 3 wins this weekend, Oregon dominated in the late innings. Did you see that mentality shift from the team this weekend?
Well, I don't know about the domination at the end of the game. I know Colby Summers sure dominated today. He was very, very good. I saw it a little differently. I saw that we had some things get away from us, and we had to respond. You know, there was a ball that fell in the outfield that traditionally gets caught all the time. As a matter of fact, all the base runners for the other team advanced only 1 base, assuming that the ball was going to be caught in the outfield, and we didn't catch it. And so that's something that was uncharacteristic of some good outfilders out there. And so that required us to be able to have a better mindset, and maybe a tougher mindset to be able to respond after negative stuff like that happens. And then they did, and they continued to score runs and put good at-bats together. I didn't see a fall-off or a drop-off on any at-bats or an emotional type of a response. I saw a really good, mentally strong response by our team, pitching, defense, and hitting.
Coach, what does it say about your team, like you just were kind of mentioning, to come in and on this day where it's rainy and cold, and this game where you give up 2 home runs in the 8th inning, but to respond, to ultimately win the game, to have that same energy from the 1st inning into the 9th inning? What does it say about your team?
Well, that's what we tried to do. You know, we tried to share that importance, and these guys, they really they understand that, especially with what's going on out there in our area and the country. People don't have a lot of money to go out and spend to go out and see baseball games and stuff like that, and so we want to make sure we're giving them a product that they can feel like they're getting their value out of their dollar when they come to the park. And I think when they watched our ball club play today, that every penny spent today probably felt like there was great value for them and their families or kids to come and watch this team play, and that's what we're trying to do.
How nice was it to see Tyler Ganus come through in that final at-bat?
You know, he's a legend, to be honest with you, a living legend. He's a kid that, we told in his exit meeting that, he was, quite candidly, he was weak. He needed to get stronger. He had all these deficiencies. We broke that stuff all down. And, but what he has inside of his heart, and he's a really good baseball player, but what he has inside of his heart is a tremendous work ethic, comes from his family. The kid is just unbelievable. He's such a person you can root for. You kind of tear up when you talk about Tyler Ganus, because the guy, nobody works as hard as him that I've ever coached in my life.
It seemed like Rio was sitting a couple miles an hour
less than he usually has. Can you just talk, but he was still able to complete, I think, 2 2/3 today. Can you just talk about how he was able to fight through this one?
Don't know how he was. He had the flu for the last 4 days, and so he wasn't even at the field the first 2 days of the series. So he showed some toughness to be able to do that. Really proud of Rio to be able to show up and give us everything that he had after basically not being able to get out of his apartment the last couple of days.
What do you think of Caleb Sloan? Pretty good for 3 innings today.
Really good. Scott Ellis, really good. They're giving us a start, and no, they're not guys that are traditionally going to go out there and start and give you 7 innings, but if they just do what they're supposed to do, and they did today, it was fun to see. I was really happy with their efforts.
So the bullpen, some bright spots, and how about that from Rio Britton, right? Giving them everything that they had. Ducks were a little shorthanded in the bullpen, and they still won a 4-game series. Love to see it from Mark Wasikowski. All right, but let's hear from the living legend, huh? Tyler Ganus, he was fired up, as he should be. This is fun.
A, how did it feel to hit that walk-off? And B, how cold are you right now?
A little bit cold, but it was amazing. I'm just really grateful that I was given the opportunity to, get a pinch hit in that spot. And, I think it really comes down to our preparation, the work we put in and the preparation from our coaching staff and just the way that our guys push each other in practice every day. It's unbelievable. There's a ton of guys that have been here for a few years that their leadership is just phenomenal. And so I think, it comes down to the preparation, and it comes down to the leadership of just trusting each other and trusting our work, and obviously just really grateful to be given the opportunity in that spot.
What's your mentality like coming off the bench in a big spot today and that big pinch hit you had down in Los Angeles last week too? It seems like you fit that role as a pinch hitter.
I appreciate that. I think we all fit that, to be honest with you. I think it's a blanket thing for our program. I think you can't be a part of this program without having that mentality of just wanting to compete in everything you do. I don't think it's just on the field. I think it's off the field as well. And, dominating the details and having fun while you're doing it and doing it for the guy next to you, like all those things, I think it's not just me. It's really something that we all take pride in, and something the coaches, I think, tell us every single day. And I think it's really beautiful to be a part of that because it's so much bigger than baseball. You really look at what you want your mentality to be in life, right? You want to get the most out of life, right? You want to get the most out of everything you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're here in the classroom, doing whatever. So I think, to answer your question, it really comes down to understanding that it applies to a lot more than just baseball, and having a group of guys that do it with you is pretty cool.
Waz was talking about how at one point he kind of sat you down and told you some things you had to work on. How does it feel to, first, how did you go into that, your mindset, grinding through that, and then how does it feel to come out and have success in these little moments?
Absolutely. It's funny. I tell my story at Oregon, over the past couple of years a lot. I do a lot of mentorship for young athletes in high school and even in college ball. And basically how it went down, just so you understand the full story, is, I came here during COVID, right? Craziness kind of ensued. 50-man sort of team in the fall. Didn't have a great fall, and our exit meeting kind of went like this. It was basically, hey, you got to get stronger, you got to become a better defender, you got to do all these sorts of things. The only thing keeping you here is your competitiveness. And so get in the weight room, get strong, and prove to us that you can really do this. And so for me, that's really when I flipped the switch and gained 20 pounds of muscle from the time of September to January. Came back a different person, and the rest is sort of history. So just really grateful to be here, and for Waz and the entire coaching staff to give me the opportunity to continue being here. It's the biggest blessing in my life.
And you obviously have other interests outside of baseball, other hobbies and careers. How do you kind of balance all that?
That's a great question. That's probably the number one question I get asked in the media. Right. And I think it really comes down to time management, number one, having a team of people that really care about you. And, I think all the credit goes to them. It's definitely not just a one-man show. And so not everyone sees what goes on behind the scenes. I think it's incredible to have people that really care about you in your corner. It starts with this team, starts with the coaching staff, starts with, my teammates helping me out with that sort of stuff. But just time management, taking a breath, and taking it one day at a time.
Time management, taking a breath one day at a time. Tyler Ganus, my spirit animal this weekend. Now, that was really cool to see him come through. Great story for Tyler Ganus, and here's hoping he gets a few more great pinch hit opportunities, pinch run opportunities. He really is Mr. Energy and Mr. Competitiveness. Such an easy guy to root for. Awesome to see him get that moment to punctuate a series win for the Ducks over Ball State. When we come back, your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill, a look around Oregon athletics, next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We conclude today's show with a look around Oregon athletics, your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Oregon softball on Friday, they rallied to extend the game, but ultimately fell 9-3. And the Ducks, I got to tell you, it felt like they, even though they lost every game in this series against Arizona State, who was undefeated in conference play, they were right there. Now, they're not going to like me saying that. You know, they're not going to like the idea of the moral victory, you know. But I got to say, I thought there were some signs of them punching through in a couple of these games. On Saturday, unearned runs. That's what ultimately doomed the Ducks to a 9-4 loss. And then on Sunday, this is after Stevie Hansen I thought was excellent. Oregon was good early on, but Arizona State pulled away toward the end, an 8-6 win on Sunday. Long ball hurt the Ducks. I thought that the long ball was the difference on Sunday. Some unearned runs were the difference on Saturday, and, well, there's your series. So the Ducks are now sitting at 24-11 and 4-8 in Pac-12 play. They've lost 6 in a row and 7 of 9, but they've faced the two toughest teams in the conference in the last couple weeks. So we'll see how Oregon softball bounces back. WNBA draft tonight. This was awesome from Kelly Graves. Listen to this. Draft night has been very special for Oregon women's basketball recently. In 2016, Jillian Aileen. 2019, Maite Cazorla. 2020, Ruthie Hebert, Satu Sabali, and Sabrina Ionescu. 2021, Aina Ayuso, former Duck. And then tonight, Niara Sabali. That's cool, man, just to think about the pro Ducks for Oregon women's basketball. Acrobatics and tumbling, they are in. They will be in the national championships following their tough loss on senior night to Baylor. Women's tennis, they did drop a couple games this weekend, as did men's tennis and women's lacrosse. But shout out to beach volleyball. Ducks set a program record for wins in a season. They picked up their 9th this weekend. That's awesome under first-year head coach Jason Dillard, and a great way to finish the Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. See you tomorrow.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now